Betrayal is one of those words people love because it makes everything simple. Somebody betrayed somebody else, so there has to be a bad guy. Case closed. But I've never been able to look at it that way. Not because I think betrayal is justified. It isn't. It's ugly. It leaves people questioning years of memories over one decision. I'm just not convinced it starts where we think it starts. I don't think it begins with hatred. I think hatred usually shows up later, after the person has already convinced themselves they had a reason. I think betrayal starts with the feeling that the person you love wouldn't notice or care if you disappeared. Think about how many stupid things people do just to be acknowledged. People will wear ridiculous clothes. They'll start arguments they don't even believe in. They'll post things they don't mean. They'll lie, exaggerate, cheat, flirt with people they don't even like. Half the internet is people screaming, "Please look at me," without ever saying those words, because that would require admitting how lonely they actually are. And loneliness has a very strong effect on people. Now imagine that feeling inside a relationship. You slowly become less interesting, and the one you love doesn't seem excited to hear what you think. That sounds like a small difference until you've lived it for long enough. Human beings can tolerate pain for a surprisingly long time. Being invisible? That's the one that makes people do bizarre shit. Sometimes the person who betrays you isn't trying to destroy your life. They're trying to prove they exist in it. That's what makes the whole thing so pathetic. They don't necessarily want to watch you suffer. They want to watch you react. They want proof that they can still move something inside you. If they can't be the reason you smile anymore, maybe they'll settle for becoming the reason you can't sleep. It's a horrible substitute, but for somebody who's been starving for significance, even negative attention feels like a meal. You ever notice how some people become almost addicted to creating chaos? At first you think they're just unlucky. Then you realize something. Peace doesn't make them feel important. Conflict does. If everything is calm, nobody's looking at them. The moment there's a disaster, suddenly they're the center of the room again. That's a dangerous lesson to teach yourself, because after enough years, your brain stops solving problems and starts manufacturing them. And before somebody says, "No, some people are just selfish." Yeah, obviously, some are. I'm not talking about those people. They're boring. I'm talking about the ones who used to be decent. The ones who look back on what they did and almost don't recognize themselves. That's the interesting question. How does somebody cross a line they swore they'd never cross? Maybe because crossing it felt better than disappearing. That's the awful trade. Not good versus evil. Visible versus invisible. We've all had moments where we wanted somebody to finally understand what they ignored for years. We've all imagined saying the one sentence that would leave them speechless. We've all wanted to matter just a little more than we did yesterday. Most people let the feeling pass. A few don't. They confuse making an impact with having a place in someone's life. And those are completely different things. You can force somebody to remember you. A drunk driver does it. A scammer does it. A liar does it. Memory isn't respect. It's not love either. A scar lasts longer than a hug, but nobody would call that a better way to be remembered. Maybe that's why betrayal always feels so strange after the anger wears off. You stop asking, "How could they do this?" and start asking a much weirder question. Were they this lonely the whole time? Because if they were, then the betrayal didn't begin the day they lied. It began months before that, when they decided that being hated was preferable to being forgotten.